can't say I've given a lot of serious thought to that. I try not to.
Why is that not an issue?
Oh, it's a huge issue. The court is an issue. So, but I don't talk about names. I talk about. I'm looking for people who actually respect precedent, who have a feel for what life is really like for Americans. We're about to, with Senator Harkin's leadership, he and I and a couple other people introduce legislation to reverse the ruling against a woman named Lilly Ledbetter, who worked at a Goodyear plant in Gadsden, Alabama, and was the only woman supervisor and was discriminated against her entire career, more than 20 years, never got paid what the men got paid, and sued, won in the lower court, in the appellate court, because that's what the precedent was, gets to the Supreme Court, and they say, well, you know, the statute of limitations ran because she should have filed suit the first time she got a paycheck that was not equivalent to what the men were getting. So we're going to change the law to say what the law had always said before the Roberts-Alito court arrived. So I'm looking for people who respect precedent. I'm looking for people who have a broader experience of American life than, you know, having gone from college to law school to some kind of you know, conservative movement job in the Reagan administration or the Bush administration, who have a very narrow life experience. I'm going to be looking for people who respect the balance of power that has made our country work well. The tilting of this court toward big business interests and executive power is really out of line with what I think makes America unique in the way we balance power and have separation of powers. I'm going to be looking for people who respect that the Constitution is an organic, growing, evolving set of principles that have stood the test of time, and that it can't just be looked at as though it is frozen at some point in the late 18th century. So I think there are a lot of people out there. I mean, President Bush could have appointed a lot of really qualified Republican judges or lawyers. Instead, he gave in to the demands of his, you know, right-wing base and appointed people who wanted to undo the 20th century. You know, we're not talking just about Roe v. Wade. We're talking about Brown versus Board of Education, which they attacked frontally in the recent Seattle-Louisville school desegregation case. We're talking about upending a 100-year precedent that I thought sensibly said manufacturers couldn't fix prices and tell retailers what they had to sell their products at. And Alito just had the votes to reverse that. This is an assault on the 20th century of progress, starting with the progressive era, where we thought it was unseemly to have children the age of 10 working 60 hours a week, and we thought it made better sense to have them in school, and we wanted to have actual provisions to enforce wage and hour and other working conditions, all the way up until the Civil Rights era. So I'm going to be talking a lot about the Supreme Court, and I think just as, I mean, I don't believe in judge bashing and the kind of outrageous and offensive language that the Republicans have used ever since Earl Warren. I think that is not appropriate. But I think you can make it clear that that elections have political consequences, and among them are who gets to pick our judges. And that it's not just some abstraction as to what happens with Roe v. Wade. It is how we live, how we work, who has power, and how they get to exercise that power, which is really important to America. So I think we can make a very robust case about why my election will get us back on the track that we were on during the last half of the 20th century.